Man, ladies and gentlemen, continuing on down the rabbit hole, we have Christopher Gregor in the Treadmill case. Now we're going over the teacher. What was Corey's teacher like? What involvement did she have in the entire case? And you're gonna find a recurring theme in this. That red flags were raised and nobody did anything. Because we're moving on right here with the teacher who apparently raised some suspicions about Timothy as well. Coming to school, rug burn mark. Does that sound familiar? Kind of like what Brianna was saying, like a rug burn mark on his face, bruises on a child, taking them out of school, making them a video chat with the teacher instead of going into school. A lot of red flags being raised. We did a live today, and all this is covered. The teacher basically was cheerleading, saying, "Hey, something's wrong over here," and nothing's happened. So, anyways, we're gonna go into this video. It's a real interesting one, and it's a real eye opener for some of the things that you may have questions about. But without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and check this thing out. The trial continued today as well, so it's about to get pretty interesting, folks. All right, let's get this. She looks like a teacher.
Kim Peace.
Oh, Kim Peace.
Oh, Peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rowe.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who do you work for?
I work for the Barnegat Township School District.
Okay. And in what capacity do you work for the Barnegat Township School District?
I am a first grade general education teacher.
And how long have you worked there?
I've been in Barnegat for 19 years.
Have you always worked in that school, in that capacity, for the Barnegat Township School District?
No, I started at the Lillian and Dumpy School. Then they grade banded. So for the past 3 years, I've been in the Collins School.
Can you explain what that means to me?
Oh, so when we grade band, so we were a K through 5 building. Then when they grade banded, so there was 4 K through 5 buildings, they grade banded. So now they have a preschool one building, a K through 2 building, 3 and 4, and so on.
So then you moved to the Collins School to keep with the grade that you were teaching?
I did.
And what year did you move to the Collins School?
2020.
What was Corey like?
Very, very smart. Well versed in math. He had math facts down. He could read. I loved the solar system. He had more knowledge about that than I did. He was very smart.
What other types of things did Corey like?
He liked to draw. He was a good drawer. I know there were certain characters that he watched. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I remember seeing it in a book, and he was showing it to me one time.
Within the course of a school day, about how much contact with Corey did you have?
Most of the day, they did leave my class one time a day to go to the special areas like math, gym, and art and music.
Is it fair to say then that you were with Corey for 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. minus 30 minutes, 5 days a week?
Yeah.
No, she's not crying.
How many teachers were assigned to your class?
There were 3 teachers. There was myself as the general education teacher. There was a special ed teacher that came to teach math with me, and then another special education teacher to teach reading with me.
Were you considered the main or head teacher for the class?
Well, I was the classroom teacher. That's what they call it.
And how many students were in the class that year?
I about 20.
Like you guys said, he probably wanted some form of control over her. But again, I don't think he really liked her like that. So in terms of control, why would you want to control somebody that you don't even want to be around? I think what really happened is that she probably, she did her government assistance, and he saw that he had to pay child support, and that just made him mad because he wanted nothing to do with her.
Would you ever communicate with your students' parents?
Yes.
How would you do that?
I used an app called Class Dojo.
Could you describe to the jury what Class Dojo is and how it works?
Sure. So Class Dojo is an app that the teachers put on their phones and the parents put on their phones, and it's kind of like you could be able to text them or message them throughout the day to share information about the classroom or information about their children.
How would parents get into your Class Dojo?
I had to send an email to the parents with like a link to join the Class Dojo.
Is this something just you used in your class, or did the whole school use the Class Dojo?
Most of the teachers use Class Dojo in my school.
Was there any type of way to, I guess, save the messages or keep them?
Well, the messages stayed. They never they don't come and go. So they stay until at the end of the year, you would archive the classroom. So then they wouldn't be on your homepage anymore.
And if you archived them, what could you do with them?
If I needed to, I could go back. I can unarchive if I need to go back and see anything.
Chris Gregor is a control freak on the fullest degree. He didn't want Corey, she did, and he felt like she had to pay the price for that. I don't agree. I think he just didn't want anything to do with them at all. And then he was forcefully put into that situation. If you watch my other video I posted with Corey Mitchell's mom, and she says that, it was 4 years. He didn't have any contact with them. He would show up every once in a while and just kind of be like, hey, fuck you guys, and just disappear. And then she applies for government assistance, and then they go after him out of default. That's what pissed him off. It pissed him off that, you're doing this whole burden on your own, burden of love, I should say, but you're dealing with this whole burden on your own for 4 whole years, and now you're going to rope me into it? Now you're going to let my parents find out about it? I feel like that was his sentiment. And he was just like, fuck you for that. My life was going good, single. I have my girlfriend. Now I have to deal with this fucking little kid. That's what pissed him off, in my opinion. It's not about the control. Fuck her. Because even she said he thinks I'm too trashy. He wouldn't even go places with me. It was more so, I think, a fuck her. I don't want to be around her. And then in his head, it's like, oh, so she forced me to be a dad anyway. So, that's my opinion.
Did you ever communicate with Corey's parents?
Yes, and I was able to communicate with Miss Michelot too.
Did you ever communicate with who you've described as Mr. Gregor in person?
Yes.
And when were you able to do that?
That would be when I was dismissing the kids at the end of the day at 1 o'clock.
And that whole thing about her getting, man, I don't, she explained it so vaguely, and I understand that it's a sore topic and you're not really trying to do too much, explain too much, let people know so much, but it was like, was it statutory? Did he hold you down and force you? Did he coerce you? Like, what exactly happened? She didn't really go into the whole detail. Like, did he get you drunk? Did he take it? How did you guys even know each other? Is my first question. It's not like he just grabbed her out of the street and said, "Hey, come here," and pushed her into an alleyway. I don't think that's what happened. It's more so they knew each other, and that's the explanation I more so wanted. Is like, how did y'all even know each other? How did it develop? And how did he assault you? But I highly doubt she would want to do an interview, especially not on something like that.
And did you ever communicate with him on the Class Dojo?
She is in that case right now. She can't talk about it. Oh, interesting. I wouldn't. Oh, maybe she did say because so many things were happening, she had to keep her mouth shut about certain things. Okay. All right, cool. No, that answers my question. If that's true, that answers my question.
Dojo?
Yes.
March 2021. Was Corey still in your first grade class?
Yes.
Do you remember what day of the week March 22nd, 2021 was?
That was a Monday.
Were you in school on that day?
On March 22nd, I was not.
Who was taking care of or overseeing your class?
So one of my co-teachers that day.
Oh, hold up now.
Are you
Hey, shout out everybody for liking the video.
aware if Corey was present in school on March 22nd?
He was.
And did you have a conversation with the aide and person taking
I will
care
be
of your
back.
classroom about Corey when you returned to school?
Yeah, I did.
And as a result of your conversation with that person, did you do anything with respect to Corey? As a result of the conversation that you said you had with the aide when you returned to school,
Right.
did you do anything with respect to Corey?
Like that day.
That day.
Like I had a little conversation with him, and that's it.
Now, did you return to school the following day, that Tuesday?
Yes.
And when you got to school, was Corey there on Tuesday? And where did you first see Corey that day?
In the classroom.
Did you make any observations of him?
I saw kind of like a burn, not a burn, but like it looked like kind of like a rug burn thing on his forehead.
And where the fuck is that rug burn thing? Even his mom, both women said rug burn. No, guys, no, ladies. Guess what? It was a fucking treadmill burn. How about that? How about that for a little spiciness in the classroom? That shit is crazy. This is why Gregor, bro, he didn't, how do you say it? It's like he didn't really care about the consequences, or he was so mad about his whole situation, his parents on his back about it, the drug addict girl who he hates. He was so fed up. I don't think he even really cared. He was just like, you know, sometimes you get really angry. Like you want to punch the air, you punch the steering wheel, but never you would expect him to take it out on his kid like that. Like, fuck, just send him back to his mom. Send him back over to his mom.
And where were you when you made the actual observations?
I was just in the front of the classroom, greeting the kids as they came in.
Now, had you seen Corey in school that Friday, the 19th?
The Friday he was absent.
Shit.
The Friday, the 19th?
You know what? He was absent on a Friday. I maybe if I saw the calendar, I don't.
Would the calendar help refresh your
It
recollection
would.
as to attendance?
It would.
What's S40?
It's our Genesis attendance calendar.
Did looking at
AG is
S40
surfing
help
now.
refresh your recollection with regard to Corey's attendance on March 19th?
Okay, March 19th he was present.
Okay, thank you. So, do you recall seeing the mark on his forehead, the abrasion, on March 19th before the weekend on Corey?
No,
The first time you saw it was when you returned on the 23rd.
exactly.
When you saw the injury to Corey, did you try to talk to Corey about what had happened to him?
I did.
And where was
And it's like, it's obvious. You don't expect the kid to get beat the fuck up. You just be like, oh, Corey, you got a little rug burn there. What happened to you, bud? You know, it's like innocent things. Like, what happened to you? I'd expect he fell over playing hide and go seek, you know, scraped his forehead on the wall. You know, kids, you know, especially boys, they don't be taking care of their head. They be knocking their head all over the fucking place. I hit my head so many times, I bet you I had a concussion before I was like 15. I definitely had a concussion before 15. I promise you. I was just shit. Listen, when I tell you I got some stories, we need to have story time one of these days. I almost forgot about that one. I hit my head so motherfucking hard when I was like 11, 12. I honestly feel like that may have fucked me up a little bit in the long run. But so yeah, you would expect some shit with a kid. Like, yeah, he probably hit his head or some shit. But then when the answers come out, it's like, whoa, wait. That should be enough for you to call the police, bro.
conversation?
In the corner of my room, like behind my desk.
Were there other children around?
They were they were backed up in the classroom.
Without telling me anything that he said, what was Corey's demeanor during the conversation that you had with him?
Just kind of like.
No, I'm gonna go live on the 26th because it's my birthday. Why not? And I don't have anything happening till later on, so I'm probably gonna go live early.
Quiet, would just answer one word question, answer with one word.
Was that different than his normal demeanor?
Yeah, because he was able to like have a back and forth conversation and it would flow. But this was kind of just like one word answers.
What was Corey's demeanor like the rest of the day after you talked to him about the injury that he had?
I didn't notice anything else. He was quite normal after that.
And after you spoke to Corey on the 23rd, what, if anything, did you do with regard to Corey?
On that day, or
On that day. Did you tell anybody about it on that day?
Objection to the meeting. So, it's appropriate to direct your attention.
can you repeat the question?
I hope so. Did you talk to anyone about Corey after what happened that day? On that day?
I spoke with people that I work with, my co-teachers, and I know definitely the co-teachers.
Did you send Corey to the nurse that day?
I didn't,
Why didn't you send Corey to the nurse?
because he had already gone on Monday, and the nurse had shared information with my co-teacher who passed what she did on to me.
Why?
Oh wow. So the kid is going to the hospital fucked up. Yeah, but he's within the normal ranges though. Okay, cool. Now he's going to school, he's getting sent to the nurse. Next week, oh, let's send him to the nurse. No, we already sent him to the nurse last week. You do not see a problem surrounding this kid? Do you not see the problem surrounding him? He's always getting fucked up. Mysteriously. What the fuck, bro? I don't know. All these people kind of irritate me. The fucking teacher. The fucking medical examiner. It's like... But then again, you can't do nothing. All you could do, excuse me, all you could do is just call the police. And if the police don't do nothing, if CPS don't do nothing, what are you gonna do? Just cry about it, pretty much. So, I mean, the main people you need to get angry with are the police or whatever agency fucked over the kid and said, nah, he can go back to his dad. Nah, release him back to his mother. If they didn't trust nothing, they should have took him out of the care of his mother and his father. Throw him in a fucking foster. I don't even care. Throw him in some shit, whatever. Because that's better than having them go back to that uncertainty. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out. The dad is obviously abusive. We give him to the mom. How long will that take? A month? The most? So, you know.
Why did you speak with other teachers that you work with about Corey and what you observed and spoke to him about?
Out of concern, we wanted to see what each other were thinking.
Do you recall what Corey's attendance was during the week of March 22nd?
He was present the whole week, but he was absent on that Friday, the 26th.
And what type of absence did he have on Friday the 26th?
We would call it an unverified because no parent contacted the school to say that their student was going to be absent. So if someone called, it would be verified. If they don't call us, we consider it unverified.
We had a kid like that. We had a kid like that when I was growing up. It was a chick, and she was really big. She was really big and tall, and she never spoke to nobody. See, and this is how you know shit is happening in the household. But I guess in third world countries, different countries, you really can't do anything about it. Like, you talk about America, you go to a third world country, you really ain't shit happening. She would never talk to nobody. She was extremely shy, but she seemed like she would beat you up. She was like 6 foot, big. She was like 6'1". Let me not even say 6 foot. She was like 6'1". I'm 5'11", and I kind of looked up at her. But the thing is, she looked like she would beat you up. She had a mean mug all the time, but she was timid as fuck. She was scared to come in front of the class. She was scared to talk to anybody. She was scared of everything. And eventually, she just stopped showing up to school. Her mom would send her to school, but then you would see her kind of walking around in the village. I lived in the village, right? So you'd see her in the village kind of just sitting around. You'd see her with her uniform on, but she ain't going to fucking school because we're going to school. She's over there doing Lord knows what. So, long story short, she was being abused. There's no doubt in my mind. Her parents were fucking her shit up, beating her up. And I feel like, not attending class and the parents not checking in, the unverified miss of school, what she said, they do that in Belize too. It's unverified. The parents don't inform you that the kid's not coming to school. She was always unverified. Always. She probably showed up 10 times for the school year. And her parents never did nothing. Never verified her being out. Nothing. So long story short, I mean, that's a sign, guys. Come on. Like he's not coming to school, not even been, nobody's calling, but whatever. I guess I should. I guess people don't. Are you sure she wasn't being bullied? Nah, fuck no. Nobody was bullying her. Let me tell you something. Who said that? Yakety. She was so big, bro. Nobody would even dare. Not even the boys would dare bully her. And that's not much culture for a boy to bully a girl in Belize anyway. But even if a boy wanted to bully her, she would probably fuck him up. And she had a mean mug too. She looked mean. Nobody fucked with her. I witnessed that. Nobody bullied that girl. She just was not coming to school, and she seemed scared of everything.
So nobody verified why Corey was out of school on March 26th?
No.
And what about the following week, the week of March 29th? What was Corey's attendance?
I got a message on Class Dojo from Mr. Gregor stating that he was with the other side of the family. There was a mass gathering, so he's going to keep him home to quarantine him that week.
When did you receive that message?
It was on Sunday, so Sunday the 28th.
Do you remember exactly what time you got it?
It was later in the day.
Do you remember the exact time?
No.
Would anything help refresh your recollection with respect to the exact time?
If I saw the messages, it has a timestamp on it.
As S41 for identification, could you take a look at it?
Yes,
Do you recognize S41?
I do.
What is S41?
So it's the message from Mr. Gregor.
Does S41 help refresh your recollection with regard to what time the message was sent?
Yes, it was 7:53 in the evening.
7:53 p.m.?
Yes.
And is that a complete and accurate copy of the message that you received?
It is.
Could you tell me specifically what the message said?
Sure, I'll read it.
Yes, please.
Hey, I just found out Corey's other side of the family had left the state and saw him this weekend after being at a mass gathering, so he will not be at school this week. Also, the week following spring break, he will not be there because he will be on vacation with me in Key West. In order to do the virtual learning, is there anything we need other than logging onto Google Classroom?
Is that the entirety of the message?
Yes.
Mr. Oak, I interrupt you. So, ladies and gentlemen, recall yesterday I gave you an instruction on statements. So this is electronically recorded written statement.
The unsung heroes of the damn courtroom. Look at these two ladies just typing their absolute asses off. That shit would give me so much anxiety I couldn't handle it. I don't know. It's too much for me.
There is for your consideration at this time a statement which was electronically written and recorded, allegedly made by the defendant. It is your function to determine whether or not the statement was actually made by the defendant, and if made, whether the statement or any portion of it is credible. In considering whether or not the statement is credible, you should take into consideration the circumstances and facts as to how the statement was made, as well as all the other evidence in this case relating to the issue. If, after your consideration of these factors, you determine the statement was not actually made, or that the statement is not credible, then you must disregard the statement completely. If you find that the statement was made and that all or part of the statement is credible, you may give it what weight you think appropriate to that portion of the statement you find to be truthful and credible. Again, I'll always provide these instructions to you again at the end of the case. Thank you very much.
Ms. Peace, I want to direct your attention to the school calendar schedule at that point in time. Now, you just read in the message that Corey would be out the week of March 29th, correct?
That's correct.
What day of the week was March 29th?
That was a Monday.
Okay. Did your school have a spring break?
The following week was our spring break.
So when would your spring break have started? On what date?
It actually started on Friday, April 2nd.
Are you referring to S40, the school calendar?
I am.
And is it helping to refresh your
Yes.
recollection?
Yes.
And so I'm sorry, I missed it. What date would spring break have started?
It started on the Friday, April 2nd.
Okay, so that means there was no school on Friday, April 2nd?
That's correct.
Do you know why there was no school that day?
It was Good Friday.
So when would spring break have ended?
It would have ended, so the following week, the 5th, and it would have ended on the 9th.
And did you say something about a vacation in the message?
I did.
So Corey's time out of school began
bad.
on March 26th, correct?
Right, because he wasn't present on March 26th.
And when then would you have expected him back in school?
When they returned, so if he went virtual on the 29th, I would expect him back when we returned from spring break, which would have been the 12th.
And what about with the vacation?
Then I wouldn't have expected.
My bad, y'all. I don't know why this screen goes blank when I switch things up on my other screen, but anyways.
Him back till the following week.
And when did that week end?
So, the
following week end.
End.
The date.
It would have ended on April 23rd.
So he would have been out of school physically from March 26th to April 23rd?
That's correct.
Damn.
Okay. So did Corey participate in school after you received that message on the evening of March 28th?
He did. He participated virtually.
Okay, tell me about that. What interaction would you have with a student when they're virtual?
We would have what's called a Google Meet. So any students that were virtual would join our Google Meet, and we would do our math lesson and our reading lesson.
So on March 29th, did you take attendance with your in-person students and your virtual students?
Yes.
What was Corey's attendance?
He was present
Virtually?
virtually.
And were you able to see him virtually?
I was.
And what, if any, observations did you make of Corey when you saw him virtually on March 29th?
I saw bruises on his cheek.
Is that the same as what you were describing from March 23rd?
No,
And did Corey attend school virtually on March 30th?
yes,
Did you observe him?
yes.
What, if any, observations did you make?
The bruising. So
Did Corey attend school virtually on March 31st?
yes,
What day of the week would that have been?
that was a Wednesday.
Did you observe him?
Yes,
What, if any, observations did you make?
the same. The bruising.
Were you able to observe his demeanor since you were virtual?
I wonder if it was more bruising. I wonder if it was extra. So they take him out of school. I didn't even know they took him out of school. Or at least we should say his father took him out of school. Got the virtual package, and now it's really beating the shit out of him. Now I wonder if he stopped going to school because he got hurt, and then the dad was like, let's just keep on doing this until, or if he just decided to do that so he could beat him up.
It's hard because they're not very comfortable. So he was kind of just sitting there and just answering questions. And
What about Corey's attendance on Thursday, April 1st?
I didn't hold meetings with my virtual students because that was like a party day before our spring break.
So if
Yeah, see, if you were innocent, you probably would have to testify to tell your side of the story. Exactly, Jim. Like, even if you didn't want to testify because something would go wrong, if you're innocent, I feel like you would need to testify. Your lawyer would probably urge you to testify if you're innocent and if you had a good plausible story. But if he doesn't testify, that also, they always say that refusal to testify does not show that you're guilty, but let's just go ahead and say that it does show that he's guilty. 100%.
students had attended virtually on April 1st, they would have had to watch the party?
That would have been, oh, yes, April 1st. Yes, exactly. There wasn't any teaching going on, so.
So Corey missed the party.
Right.
And April 2nd was Good Friday?
Yes.
No school.
No school.
That week, the week of March 29th, did you speak to anyone about Corey?
I did.
Tell me, when was the first time you spoke to someone about Corey that week?
I believe it was the Monday the 29th. I received a phone call.
Without telling me what that person said, who called you?
A DIFUS worker.
Do you remember that person's name?
I do.
Okay. What's the person's name?
Valerie Allegory.
All right. And did you have a conversation with her?
I did.
And did you talk about Corey?
Yes.
And why did you talk about Corey to that worker when she called you?
Because I wanted to voice my concern about the series of events that were leading the past couple of weeks, and that I felt something wasn't right.
You have the fucking teacher. You have the mom. The teacher blatantly said, I feel like something isn't right. And she's smart enough to pick up the pattern. I mean, she's a teacher, for Christ's sake. I mean, she's the first social worker. I mean, the teacher sees all your kids. She's the first line of defense. She said, it just doesn't feel right the past couple of weeks. I mean, rug burn to the face. Now the kid's not in school. Now he's doing virtual meetings. And, oh, he just has a bruise. What are we doing? We're training for the new MMA fight for fucking 6-year-olds? Doesn't make sense. Only fighters you see with bruises and shit on their face, and it's just a normal thing. What do you think, the camera was going to be too grainy for them to realize? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, somebody needs to get fired, sued. I swear to God, especially in this case. This and the Harmony Montgomery case. There's so many cases. And when you go back to Harmony Montgomery, because we still need to finish that, if you look at that caseworker, bro, he doesn't know shit. The guy couldn't even take his time to review the notes so that he knew how to answer the questions. He was like, oh, I don't remember. Oh, I don't recall. Can I review my notes? Oh, I don't recall. Can I review my notes? The entire interrogation, bro. Editing the video was even difficult because he had to review his notes so many times. So that just kind of shows you that social workers ain't shit. She basically called to waste her time. She wasted about 30 minutes of her life because they did nothing.
Something wasn't right with what?
Seeing the bruising, seeing the injury on the forehead, and then him not being there virtual, or him going virtual on that 29th.
And after your conversation that you just described, did you have any other conversations that week with anyone about Corey?
I did.
When was the next conversation you had with someone about Corey?
It was the next day.
And the next day, who did you speak with?
I don't know his name. I think his first name was Mark.
And how did that conversation come about? Did you call him? Did he call you, or something else?
I called him.
And how did you get his phone number?
From the
school
from
registry.
Valerie the day before.
And when you called Mark, did you actually talk to Mark?
I did.
And why did you call Mark?
It's because I wanted to voice my concerns and tell him what I saw and how I felt like I did not feel good about what I was seeing and what I was hearing.
And did you in fact do that?
I did.
After seeing Corey in school on March 25th in person, did you ever see Corey Michelot in person again?
No.
No further questions.
Never saw him again. Ain't that a bitch, huh?
Oh, I will speak.
Ain't that a bitch? You raised concern. You said you didn't feel right. Your intuition, and then now he's gone. Never saw him again. But hey, CPS documented it. You're lucky CPS documented that shit, because now we have it documented. He's dead, but we have it documented. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good job, CPS.